this is back against the wall time for the Black Beast, for Derrick Lewis. You go into your last fight, if you were Derrick Lewis, you fight a Sergey Pavlovich, and, I mean, early stoppage, I don't know, but you got pieced up. You put it on yourself. You went into the fight as a slow starter, and Pavlovich capitalized, man. A win is a win is a win. We preach it all the time here on this show, and Pavlovich got it done. Now you fight another Sergey. A Sergey who is a little bit of a slow starter. A Sergey who has to close the distance if he wants to execute his game plan. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't something that could happen. Clearly, the man is a minus 190 favorite in and of itself. But let's be honest here, AJ. A slump is a slump. 2022 has not been Derrick Lewis's year. He's admitted it. Is he a number 7 fighter in the heavyweight division? Truly? Brother, it was just a couple months ago we said there is Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic, Cyril Gane, and Derrick Lewis, though it's the pinnacle of the heavyweight division. What happened?
Derrick, I guess when it rains, it pours, brother. That seems to be the case for Derrick Lewis, and a lot of people have lost faith in the Black Beast. It's kind of crazy, man. I mean, like you said, just months ago, we were talking about this dude. I remember at the beginning of the year, even me, myself, I thought Derrick Lewis was going to be champ. He's fought for a couple titles, and because of the skid that he's kind of been, and the skid of this year, that is, like you said, his fighting year, it's looking a little rough for him, at least optically. If he can come back, though, I think with this, a big win right here against Spivak, I think that will kind of propel him back. But at this point, Derrick, I don't know, man. Do you think this one fight will be the one that does it? Or do you think this is another one where, like, yeah, he used to be a championship material, he should be beating Spivak? Does this even do anything for him? Or do you think this is a big fight right here for the career of Derrick Lewis?
If you're a real MMA fan, you totally understand Sergey Spivak is absolutely a dark horse in the heavyweight division. He doesn't like to talk shit. He's not entertaining in terms of like being outspoken, doesn't speak English, doesn't even try to speak English. So yeah, obviously fanfare, no, it's not there. If you're a real MMA fan, is this a big win? Of course. If you can get past a Spivak, all right, we're still back on track. Here's the thing you got to take into consideration if you're Derrick Lewis. He has already put it out there. I don't really give a shit about fighting for championships, right? I'll fight whoever, whenever, give me some money. That's really what I care about. I like beating people out, or beating people up, I am the knockout king, right? Okay, well, if you set yourself up there, you did it to yourself, man. No one could be mad at the situation he's in. He's too willing to fight everybody, and sometimes you take a risk and you don't get the biscuit. It kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, man, he is cannon fodder. Maybe not cannon fodder. Maybe that's not the right term. He's a stepping stone. He's a name that a lot of people are trying to take advantage of right now. I mean, look at it. Tuivasa took advantage of it. Sergey Pavlovich absolutely took advantage of it. Can Sergey Spivak do it? Let's talk X's and O's, brother. I want you to take a real peek at the props real quick. Look at that TKO number on both sides. Plus 150 for Sergey Spivak, plus 180 for the knockout king, the UFC's knockout king, Derrick Lewis. And Sergey Spivak has a better opportunity, at least in the eyes of the odds makers, to get the knockout. Now, this is going to happen one of two ways. Odds makers either look at it as Sergey Spivak is going to get in on a double, on a trip, on a something. He's going to put Lewis down. He's going to ground and pound finish like he does everybody else. But my other argument there is, well, you got to get in close on Derrick Lewis to really take him down and put him in that position. Now, when's the last person we saw actually successfully do that against Derrick Lewis and keep him there on the ground and just ground and pound finish? If you had to, don't even look nothing up. Just off the top of your head, is there anything you can think of?
Last person we saw to hold Derrick Lewis down, beat him up, off the top of my head, man, did he fight the boa constrictor? Because that would be my last guess, but I don't know, Derrick. Off the top of my head, without looking at the notes, man, who's it?
Well, when we take a peek right here, the last person to actually take Derrick Lewis down was, indeed, Alexei Oleinik. Now, did he get the finish? No, he did not. Of course he did not get the finish, right? Derrick Lewis won via KO round 2. I'm not going to say it wasn't a decent, effort and a good fight, but here's the whole point. You have a dude who's got like 40 career submissions, get the job done against Derrick Lewis. You look at the last person to take him down after that, Ilir Latifi. The next one after that, Blagoy Ivanov, right? We're talking 2019, 2020. But if we're talking about Curtis Blades, well, we know how that happened. Curtis Blades was piecing him up on the feet, never got the takedown. He lost to Cyril Gane. Gane couldn't take him down. Dawkins didn't. Tuivasa didn't. Pavlovich didn't. This is the point that I'm trying to make here. You have to have a very dedicated game plan if you're a Sergey Spivak, and you have to be able to get past the initial defenses of a Derrick Lewis to implement that game plan. And I think this fight, and it might sound silly and it might sound even too simplistic, but I think this is what this fight comes down to. Who executes their game plan properly? Can Derrick Lewis hit him with the big bomb before he gets in, or can Spivak get the takedown? And I think whoever executes properly wins. Do you agree, or do you think it's more complicated than that?
No, Derek, I agree with you 100%, man. It's really, can Derek Lewis stay on his feet, stop the takedowns, throw them uppercuts, throw those knees, keep Spivak, excuse me, at bay, and can Spivak do the exact opposite? Get in close, lock those hands up, get to the hips, dump him, and start beating him up on the ground. Because that's, to me, that makes the most sense. Why those both the two TKO props are where they're at plus 185, plus 150. It seems like game plan. If you're doing any sort of film research, it looks like the odds makers are. Seems like the most, the most logical thing to me is those TKO props. Excuse me. And like you said, whoever performs the game plan the best, whoever shows up the best on that day, and I think that's what makes this fight so hard to actually choose and actually lock down, because we've seen many a time Derek Lewis is one of the ones that is credited most with the jiu-jitsu doesn't work, just stand up. And Derek Lewis, if taken down, will just stand up. And how demoralizing is that to a Sergey Spivak, is to a guy who's has been tested, who put down, a guy who also beat Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, and Spivak put it to Tai as well, but Tai wasn't able to get up. Can Lewis get up? Can he do that? Is this going to be the night that it is? On a rough year, on a slump, I don't know, man. It seems like a tall task, but Derek Lewis said, he feels like somebody put some voodoo on him. So hopefully himself, he's doing a little extra anti-voodoo, whatever the case is, to kind of get himself feeling on track. I don't know. Do you think he has it in for the year? Personally, I think it's a rough bet for me.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's tough because we could rattle off the Tai Tuivasa name all day long, but that was before the streaking Tai Tuivasa we see today, man. So it's not really the same guy, is it? Look at Glover Teixeira when Rumble knocked him out versus Glover Teixeira now. It's not the same guy technically, right? I want to look at it like this though. Sergey Spivak, right, in his last win against Augusto Sakai, right? Augusto Sakai, heavy hitter, right? But he likes to back up. He likes to run in circles, do stuff like that, right? He likes to use a lot of mobility, use that kickboxing. That's fantastic. Look at the win before, Greg Hardy, rough go, but he ended up getting him down, used that power, got him out of there. Look at the fight before that, Tom Aspinall, you got finished due to KO, elbow to ground strikes right there. I'm just saying this, man, when that game plan doesn't originally work, we might be in for some rough sledding. I'm curious though, how do you feel about that plus 350 submission prop for a Sergey Spivak?
It's interesting, man, especially because of, if you're looking to hold Derek Lewis down on the ground and submit him and control him like that, I don't really see that happening, nor do I see Spivak getting something off of the bottom. I mean, I know he got a, well, I guess speaking of the Tai Tuivasa fight, Spivak got an anaconda, or was it head and arm? I forgot. He got a submission on Tuivasa, but it wasn't like masterfully planned. It seemed like Tuivasa was just dog tired and was with it. And I don't know. I don't see Derek Lewis doing that exact same thing. More so going out in his shield and just taking a little cage nap, if you will. What do you think?
And you were right. It was a head and arm triangle choke, right? That was the last choke that he actually got. Last choke in his career. Everything else has basically been majority decisions, ground and pound TKO finishes. I think the best way to wrap it up is this. Derek Lewis has been submitted one time in his UFC career, right? Dude's got a lot of fights. Got 25 fights in the UFC. You've been submitted one time. How many times have you been knocked out? 7 times, right? So it's like the odds right there is that the knockout will probably come before the submission. Either way, if the game plan is that simple, it comes down to who do you have faith in? And it doesn't sound like you have faith in Derek Lewis. Now, this was going to be my last question for you. Admittedly, he said it, back against the wall. I hate losing one fight, yet alone 3 fights in a row, so I got to turn it around. My question to you comes in the form of, is Derek Lewis most dangerous when he is acknowledged and admitted that now is go time, he has to get the win? Is he more dangerous, or do you think he's more vulnerable because he's more in his head going into this fight?
I mean, if the right while I pull it up, because I'm gonna blank the name. If the who's the fight he had? Was it the Curtis Blade? No, where it was basically a standoff.
Francis
Francis
Ngannou, brother.
Ngannou.
I feel if we go over this one a lot. I feel like that's like it's such a unimpactful fight with the biggest names. Nobody can ever remember it. But continue, please.
Exactly, man. That's why I was having to pull it up, man. It is so hard to remember. But to that point, everybody was expecting this firefight match, this crazy thing. All the hype was built up. Same, not the exact same aspect, but of the same vein. You got all the pressure on you. You need to win a fight. You need to feed your family. You need all this stuff to go right. The pressure's on, man. And expectations are very, very high in both of those situations. And we saw what happened with the dud before. Now, will he perform like that again? I don't really know. I mean, I'm always a big supporter of the Black Beast, but like Derek quoted or hinted towards before, I'm not really too sure. I'm not really too sold on the fact that this is going to be his year going in with the mental problems. I know those can add up. So, man, to me personally, I don't really think he's going to be pulling through on this one. Do you have all the confidence going into this one?
I think that if you have been following the career of a Derrick Lewis, and if you're an actual MMA fan, yeah, you have to have confidence in Lewis. All it takes is one shot. How can you not have confidence in that? Sergey Spivak kind of got to be perfect. You know what I mean? Look at the Pereira versus Adesanya. It takes one shot, and it happened late in the fight. That's all it takes. We know it can happen. I have faith in Derrick Lewis, and if it means anything, this means nothing. But if it means anything, Derrick Lewis's last 3 losses have come in UFC 277, UFC 271, and UFC 265. Right, all pay-per-views, a couple of them in Houston. Last 2 wins against Dawkins and Blades, both Vegas cards, fight night cards. I'm just saying, brother. I'm just saying. I like Derrick Lewis here, man. I want the TKO victory. There's one way this win is going to happen, in my opinion, if you're Derrick Lewis. He says he likes to wrestle. I don't think that's true. I think he likes to stick fists in people's face, get them with the knockout. Now, for me, you're gonna notice a trend here today, AJ, of the over and unders. I'm going to rock with very early round 2 KO. Derrick Lewis, give it to me. What you got?
There we go. Early round 2. Man, I too am rocking with the TKO prop, but folks, I'm not going Derrick Lewis. Like we were saying before, man, I'm rocking with Spivak. And I'm going late, man. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take late round 3. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a dog fight. My heart's with Derrick Lewis, but my brain is saying Spivak, man. This is a very close fight, folks. You're gonna have to tune into this one, man.
Absolutely, and this is going to be a fantastic main event here, folks. I think this is going to be a fight that divides the country, man. Honestly, this is one of those. It's a generational crossing roads, man. Are you picking the young dark horse coming up, or are you going to pick the OG established Derrick Lewis, who's been doing it for years and years and years? Only time will tell. There you go, folks. All right.